Hi everyone, it's Veronica. This is the second video for the Choose Your Burger interaction, and in this video I'll show you how this basically works. So the triggers and the variables and the states and how they all work together. So if you recall, this is my first intro screen and the interaction starts here with choosing your type of burger that you want, and then you go through these steps until you get to the end where you're told to confirm your purchase and then how much it all costs. So essentially I've got quite a few variables, but there are mainly two types of variables. There are many true-false variables that all basically manage the selection process of all the different items. So you can see I've got the types of meat or the types of patty right here, and I like to label my variables clearly so that they appear in the order that I like. So in this case I've named them with a number in front of the name that tells me what screen or what order they come on. And I've got my cheeses, and you'll notice here that for cheese and for all subsequent screens I've got a skip variable. So when the user decides that they don't want to have any cheese on their burger, they'll skip that. So I need a variable to tell me that. Then I've got the lettuce and the onion and the tomato, and I've got the sauces. Now I know that they're all labeled 3 here because originally I was having all of these on the same screen, but then I changed that. The variables stayed the same, but anyway, it's pretty clear. So I've got the sauce mayo, sauce mustard, and sauce tomato. I've got a skip fillings and a skip sauces variable there. And moving along, I've got my sides there with the number 4. I've got skip sides as well, and I've got my drinks and my skip drinks with number 5. So they're all the true false variables that basically tell storyline whether the user has selected one of those or not. And then the other variables that I have are all related to the price of the items. Now this one there is spare, so I'm going to remove it. So I've got a price burger number variable set at 0 because when we start the interaction nobody has ordered anything yet. So all the burger items get added onto the price burger variable. I have a price drinks and a price sides, and then I have a price total, which basically adds up all these 3 into one at the end. And then finally I have one variable for each of the items, and the default value is basically the price that I have assigned each of those items. So beef is a beef patty is $3.30, chicken $3.65, and so on. So I've got all of my prices there, you can see. So they're all the variables and how they're set up. I'll show you how this all works next. So let's have a look at my first screen here where you choose your patty. I mentioned in the first video that on this screen the user has to choose one of them and can only choose one of them. So there's no skip button here because if they don't choose a type of meat then they don't have a burger. So they have to choose one here. Let's have a look at the triggers panel. And I'll show you how this all works. Basically there are lots of triggers associated with the add button, and there are some triggers also associated here with the reset button, which I'm just going to rename reset. Obviously I copied and pasted. So I've got the add button and all these triggers under there. So let's have a look at how this works. Basically what each of these triggers is going to do is it's going to adjust the variable price burger, which is basically the price that they're going to pay in the end for the burger, depending on how many things they've got on it, to add the variable price 1 beef. And if you remember, this price 1 beef variable had a number to it, which is $3.30, when the user clicks the button add, but only on the condition that the shape beef, which is the picture of the beef, is equal to selected. So add the price of the beef to the price burger variable, but only if beef is selected. And that's the same for the chicken and for the fish. Now the other thing that I want to do, so that's to add the price of the burger to the variable so that I can then display the correct price that the user needs to pay. The next thing is to adjust the true-false variable. So I'm going to adjust the variable 1 beef to a value of true. They start off all as false, so I'm just adjusting it to the value of true when the user clicks the button add. but again, only if the beef is selected. And then I've done the same for chicken and for fish. And what these triggers are going to do is on the confirm screen, they are going to determine whether they show the picture of the beef or the picture of the chicken or the picture of the fish. So here I'm going to jump to the next slide, which is choose your cheese. When the user clicks add, but only if one of these is selected. They can't move on unless they have selected something. So basically the trigger looks like this. Jump to that slide, but only on the condition that either beef is selected or chicken is selected or fish is selected. If they don't select any of those things, they will get a message. So it says show layer message. When the user clicks button add, if beef is normal, or if chicken is normal, or if fish is normal. So if neither of those are selected. And the message is this one. Basically it says, it just pops up for a few seconds and it says please make a selection. Finally, we've got, I'll open this up again, we've got the reset button, which basically just says change the state of the beef and change the state of the chicken and change the state of the fish, all of them back to normal when the user clicks it, and that just resets it. So that's how these choosing screens are set up, but I do need to show you just a couple more things. So we'll go into the cheese one now, which they do have the ability to skip. So basically the triggers are set up in the same way that I just showed you for the patty. So you are adding the price to price burger, and then you are setting the variable to true, whether it's cheddar or Swiss or mozzarella. And the same thing, they see the message layer if they don't select anything, or if they want to reset, and all of that is the same. But something is a bit different here in the message layer, because with the cheese and the subsequent screens they are allowed to skip that item. They get this screen that says, yes, I'm sure I want to skip, or no, sorry, I've made a mistake, I would like to select some cheese. So if they select this, we just hide the layer and they make their selection. But if they select, yeah, I'm sure I don't want any cheese, then what happens is the following. First of all, I added a trigger, and this is a just in case trigger, to change all the cheeses back to normal, because there's a chance that someone might select one of the cheeses and then decide, oh, hang on, I don't want any cheese, and they'll choose skip. But one of the cheese, say Swiss, is selected, and we don't want that to be added to the tally, and we don't want that to show at the end. So just in case, if they are definitely skipping the cheese, I'm just changing all of the cheeses back to normal in case one of them had been selected, whether on purpose or by accident. And then the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to set the skip variable. So this is 2 and 2 is cheese. So the skip variable to true if cheddar is normal and mozzarella is normal and Swiss is normal. So all of them have to be normal for that skip variable to turn to true. And again, that will tell us at the end whether we show any cheese or not. And then the other same trigger to jump to the next slide. So that's how those slides are set up. And next we'll move on to the confirm your order slide. Now on this slide I have actually about 48 triggers, so it's a bit full on, but I will make this file available so you can have a look yourselves and dissect it. And the important part on this screen is the states. So all of these triggers, or not all of them, but the majority of these triggers are about changing the state of the different items, burger, sides and drinks, to normal, because at the moment you can see that there's nothing on the screen because they're all hidden. So it's all about changing them depending on which variables are true. If you have a quick look here, you can see change the state of the bread bottom to say no sauce when the timeline reaches 1 second. If 3 skip sauces is equal to true. So all the triggers are going to be if that particular item is equal to true, whether it's a skip or one of the food elements. I have staggered how things appear on the screen. So the burger will appear on second 1, or the bottom part of the burger, that is. And then if you keep scrolling down here, you can see that's 1.5 seconds for the patty to appear on top of the burger. And then at 2 seconds we've got the cheese appearing. And then at 2.5 seconds we've got the fillings, so lettuce, tomato, all that stuff. At 3 seconds we've got the top of the bread appearing. Now, the sides come in at 5 seconds and the drinks come in at 6 seconds. So I'll show you the states now, which are a pretty important part of this interaction. So I'll start with a burger. Now, you can see that this is, I'll probably start with the bottom of the burger, that'll be better. So the normal state is basically just a transparent shape, because I didn't want anything to show at all, even for a split second when this screen came on. So I decided to turn the normal state just to a transparent shape. And then, have a look here, I have 8 states for this bread. I've got a no sauce state. And then I've got an only mayo, only mustard, only tomato. This is just for the sauce. I've got a mayo and mustard, mayo and tomato, or tomato, and tomato and mustard, and all 3 sauces. So this is probably a fairly intense one. And you can see all the bread bottom state changes here. So change the bread bottom to no sauce if the skip variable is true. Or change the bread bottom to only mayo if sauce mayo is true. And let's just have a look at where all 3 are selected. Change the state of the bread bottom to 3 sauces if sauce mayo is equal to true and sauce mustard is equal to true and sauce tomato is equal to true. So this is why there are so many triggers here. I'll just show you the different states, and then as I said, you can just have a look yourselves at the source file. So this is the filling. So I've got lettuce, tomato, onion, and then the combinations there. Under this one there'll be, where is it, cheese. So I've got cheddar and Swiss and mozzarella cheese or nothing. Where else? And then I've got the top bun. So the top bun basically is the same state. You can see that the bread looks exactly the same, but what changes in the state is the position. Depending on how much filling there is in the burger, we've got with everything should appear right there. With nothing, it appears a little bit lower down, and with onion or tomato appears sort of in the middle. And that's because it just happened to be that with onion or tomato was a bit narrower than the lettuce. So this is something that you just need to play around with and see how many states you can get away with, basically. I've got my sides, which basically shows if they ordered only 1 or 2, any of the combinations, or 3, or if they didn't order any sides at all. And I've got the same for the drinks. So just 1, 2, or none. So that's basically how that slide is set up. At the end, we've got basically the checkout button, which becomes ready to go only after the user has clicked on confirm. And they will go to this slide. That's just the layer. So here's the checkout slide, which basically adds up all the prices to get to the price total. So the triggers here are add price burger to price total when the timeline starts, add price drinks to price total when the timeline starts, and add price sides to price total when the timeline starts. So all of these 3 are being displayed, and price total is being displayed there. And that's pretty much it. Remember that these 3 variables, price burger, price drinks, and price sides, are being added as we go along. So whatever they've ordered gets tracked by these variables. The final, when they click on pay now, they get the final message, which is just a layer, and place another order basically restarts the course. And what that means is that all variables in all states, everything gets reset back to the very beginning, so that you don't have to reset all the variables manually. So I hope that helps, and let me know how you went. Bye.